But we got to move forward. We spent a little bit longer on that segment than I think I was expecting. This one, maybe we're not going to spend as much time on. Sprint races. They have been announced for 2026. Chinese Grand Prix weekend is going to feature a sprint. Miami Grand Prix, Canadian, British, the Dutch Grand Prix, as well as the Singapore Grand Prix. Question to Kevin. Yeah, I'll start with this. Do you enjoy the sprint? Do you enjoy the sprint format? Do you think it adds to the race weekend?
I am indifferent. I don't want it gone, but I don't care if it's there either. I would just settle and say that I'm indifferent.
They could do away with the sprint. I'm saying this, I guess, maybe as this is a selfish statement, and I'm sure Formula One would disagree, because I understand why they have them. But I could do away with the sprint just because I can tune into the qualifying, or not the qualifying, like the practice highlights on a Friday. Don't have to worry about a sprint qualifying on a Friday. Then I got to worry about a sprint race on the Saturday morning. Then I got to worry about actual race qualifying in the afternoon. Then the feature race on the Sunday. I'm a busy man. I'm trying to spread my time out amongst friends and family and hobbies and interests. As much as I do love Formula One, that's, I think I would appreciate a little extra time in my personal life, as much as I'm going to sit down and tune in and watch Formula One on a Sunday.
Well, maybe more importantly, what do the drivers want?
Oh, the drivers hate it. And I don't think the teams like it either. I saw this comment from Esteban Ocon. He was speaking to French media. He was asked about the sprints, and he said, we live in a consumer world where we seek out content more often. We watch a Netflix series, don't want to wait between sessions. At the same time, sometimes it's important to wait patiently and enjoy the Grand Prix. And I don't think I disagree. The sprints have not always been a feature of the Formula One calendar. Historically, you just have your practice sessions, you have your qualifying, and you go racing on your Sunday. The sprints, they can kind of hinder a weekend for a team. Like, they can really hamper a team. You get one practice session. Hopefully the weather conditions are, relatively consistent through the weekend, right? There's one aspect.
Yeah.
But if you have an inconsistent weather pattern for the entire weekend, what data you get on a Friday, you're not going to be able to really translate comfortably into a Saturday sprint, into a Sunday feature race. Because once the car's in Parc Ferme, ready to go for the sprint race, sprint qualifying, you can't change it. Then again, on Sunday, I don't think they can do much more than make some small alterations between then and then. You're not really getting much more out of a sprint race. And the benefit to the drivers in first place is just 8 points. It's not a massive swing to the championship. It gives, people like us more to talk about maybe following a weekend. But I would argue that we walk into a podcast and we're very quick to dismiss what happened on the sprint race because the feature race is just that much more interesting, much more conversational. So even from a media perspective, I can't say I love it. It is what it is. F1 wants it because of the commercialism, right? They can put some more money into it. They get some more branding for it. They get some more advertising for it. So for the sport, it's, commercially positive, but for the teams and for the drivers and even for some of the fans, I don't think they necessarily enjoy it.
Is it fair to say that a sprint gets disregarded like a practice?
Not so much. And that's what I mean. Like, it doesn't benefit the teams because let's say you're not going to win the sprint. Yeah. Then you're basically utilizing the sprint race as, okay, let's try to get as much data as we can. But I think teams really would prefer to maximize as much data as they can get, data over the course of 3 practice sessions. I think qualifying. And then
I think what I meant was, do you think that the sprint race gets disregarded as a practice from a viewership standpoint? I don't imagine, obviously I don't have the numbers or the analytics in front of me. I would imagine the viewership for a sprint race is not near as high as the viewership for an actual Grand Prix.
No, it's not as high for the actual feature race. And maybe it's because people, again, they have lives. They want to do other things on a weekend. But I think they get viewership. I'm not going to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, at least not on my schedule, not on my free time, to watch a sprint race. I'll wake up and, watch it on my own time, or I'll just watch the highlights if it gets spoiled for me. I think the onus on the importance of a sprint race is less important to me. And maybe the average fan probably, I can't speak for everybody, but I imagine there's probably a lot of fans out there that are like, I could do without it. Doesn't really affect my weekend. Unless you're
I
like
get more
die hard. I can't wait for every practice session. I watch the entire hour and I watch every sprint and I watch every single race. I am locked in from beginning to end of broadcast. That person, they don't care. That's not the general audience. I'm just saying.
I would say I get more thrill out of a qualifying than a sprint.
Agreed. 100%. There's stakes. Even the sprint qualifying, it's like, it's neat, but by the time you get around to the feature race, like if the weather conditions have changed a little bit, you know what I mean? Like teams, the problem with the sprint qualifying is that you get one practice to kind of figure out your car.
It's just not enough.
It's not enough. It's just not enough. Either give them another practice session, or here's where I was also going to go with it: make the sprints more interesting. Shark on the track. Hey, that could be interesting. No, in all seriousness, they're
making them race. They're making them race practically on the sun. So, they're going to make them race out there in the high heat. So you want to make it interesting. They made it interesting.
No, to be completely honest, F2 does this interestingly. So they do a reverse grid. So they do a full qualifying. Grid. So they do a full qualifying session on Saturday. And then they do a reverse grid of the top 10. So first place goes to 10th, 10th goes to first. The cars are all relatively even in Formula 2, or at least a little bit closer. So you do get to see some of the talent come out of some of these drivers who can make more overtakes, right? And the sprint races are actually worth something in F2. Maybe not as high point-wise, but there's not as many races in an F2 season. So the points everywhere you can get them, they do matter. It gives you a display of racecraft from the back, who can pass, who can make up more places to get as many constructor points. But it also gives some of these mid to low field teams opportunities to grab the highlight of their season, at least for me. If you're in F1 and let's say you're Gabriel Bortoleto, getting P10 is already an accomplishment for the feature race. That's going to be a good point at the end of the race if you can hang on to it. But imagine you're starting on the front row on a sprint race and you got an opportunity to get the stake F1 team or next year Audi 8 points for the constructors. I think it makes the midfield fights a lot more interesting. And even the back of the pack, I think it makes things a lot more interesting.
I agree. I would like a backwards grid. Kind of add chaos. When in doubt, add chaos. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I think I would agree. Overall, though, I think as it stands, it needs to either be tweaked or just scrap it. The drivers don't care. I think Max Verstappen secured the championship a couple years ago during a sprint, and he was like, "Yeah, it's cool. I'm happy I won the championship. Really hard fought win, but we're really worried about Sunday's feature race." And it was kind of an underwhelming moment because he won it on a sprint. Oh, okay. Well, we still got more work to do this weekend, guys. Can't really celebrate this yet.
It doesn't really feel the same. Yeah.